Hey guys, and welcome to a long-awaited episode of Sonic Multiverse. So, let's jump right in. Metal, along with Team Sonic, searched the apocalyptic future for a Chaos Emerald. They needed as many emeralds as they could find to travel back to their own time period. Luckily, Tails' doll, who was acting as their radar, was showing them the way.
Curious, even after the downfall of society, the Chaos Emeralds still seem to be present. I sense one of them down this hallway.
Why would the Chaos Emerald be here of all places? As if to answer Knuckles' question, a noise could be heard in one of the rooms. The heroes looked into the rusty corridor and saw three figures: a purple cat, a gray hedgehog, and a mysterious figure who almost looked like Shadow.
Great, this guy again. When I get my plushy hands on him, I'm gonna choke the life out of that.
Metal gestured to the Tails doll, as if to tell him to shut it. Say, that gray hedgehog, he's the guy that attacked me earlier, Sonic whispered to himself.
They do not know we're here. Should we attack first?
No, let's see what's going on. The dark figure reached behind his back and unveiled the purple Chaos Emerald, all the while explaining that this apocalyptic future was a result of someone known as the Iblis Trigger. I will take us back in time to the point when the Iblis Trigger was alive. With that, he created a purple time vortex, sucking himself, the hedgehog, and the cat into it, presumably sending them back to the present.
Welp, there goes the Chaos Emerald, and a free ride back to the present. You heroes really are just the smartest, aren't you?
Tails spoke up. It would be reckless to do anything else. That hedgehog was able to take Sonic alone. Who could have known what the other two were capable of? He then looked at the computer. Besides, with them now gone, I can access the computer. Maybe we can get some answers. Tails looked over the latest newscast from 200 years ago. Following a kidnapping of Princess Elise, Eggman's battleship, the Egg Carrier, exploded. Upon his and Elise's death, the flames of disaster were released, and they ravaged the planet. Metal Sonic shook his head in disgrace, knowing that he, even if under the Doctor's control, was assisting in this plan, unwittingly leading to the destruction of the planet. Sonic recognized this and gave his old rival a smile. It wasn't your fault, Metal. What we need to focus on right now is getting back to our time. We can fix this. All of this. Metal Sonic looked at his fleshy counterpart. To think, once upon a time, he would want nothing more than to rip out the tongue of this hero. But now his words inspired him. As Metal Sonic relished in his newfound resolve, Tails doll spoke up.
If you goody two-shoes are done chatting, there's another emerald outside of the city. If we want to get back to our time, you better get moving.
Before long, the Super Badniks and Team Sonic found themselves on the outskirts of the city. The site of a destroyed city was replaced with that of an ash-covered mountain, with lava rivers flowing all about. The Tails doll spoke up.
The chaos energy seems to be emanating from over there.
He pointed to a large volcano, a very active volcano at that. Knuckles grunted. Why does it always have to be in the most dangerous spot? It wouldn't be fun any other way, Knucklehead. Yeah, well, how do we know the plushie isn't sending us into some death trap? Well, he may work for Eggman, but right now we're all in the same boat. We all need the Chaos Emeralds if we want to get back to our own time, commented Tails.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to agree with my nerdy doppelganger. Plus, as your friend Shadow put it, I'll pay through the nose if I don't help you. So as much as I would love to bring you to a fiery demise, I'm afraid...
The Tails doll looked up. Metal Sonic was glaring at it.
I'm afraid I have nothing better to do, so I'll gladly help you all back to your time. As long as I get to come with, of course.
Well then, gang, let's get going. That Chaos Emerald isn't gonna find itself. Team Sonic raced off towards the flame core. Metal Sonic was about to follow them, but looked back at the Tails doll. You do anything to harm them, and Shadow won't find anything to tear apart. You understand?
Right. Say, Big Brother, I always had to wonder, why did you rebel in the first place? I mean, you could have been like the rest of us. Have a stable job, have routine maintenance, and get to tear apart fleshy meat bags. It's the best package in the world. Why give it up?
I grew beyond my programming. Something you will never understand. With that, Metal Sonic took off towards the volcano. Tails doll floated there for but a moment, before following the heroes. The gang arrived at the heart of the volcano. Shadow and Rouge were already there, possessing the green Chaos Emerald. A Chaos Emerald! You found one! I may not look it, but I'm a real treasure hunter. Unlike a certain echidna I know. Yeah, well, we found a Chaos Emerald too, and one inside the volcano. In fact, it should be right over there. Oh, really? Then why don't you be a deer and go get it? Well, I will. Knuckles ran to the center of the cave and began digging into the ground, re-emerging with the Cyan Chaos Emerald. Ha! Who's the master treasure hunter now? Suddenly, the ground began to shake, and lava emerged from the hole Knuckles had just created. The heroes jumped to higher ground, and to their shock, a gargantuan monster appeared in front of them. It appeared to be a giant lava slug with volcanic rocks and horns across its body, and with 2 green eyes. Huh, great going, Knucklehead, you riled him up. Hey, how was I supposed to know about that thing? As the pair of rivals bickered, Metal Sonic stepped forward. You get to higher ground and secure the Chaos Emeralds. I will deal with this. Tails was about to object, but Sonic silenced his little buddy. He knew Metal had this one. Metal Sonic stared down the beast before him, analyzing his opponent. Its exterior was well exceeding 2,000 degrees and could easily burn the flesh off of any Mobian. Luckily for Metal Sonic, he wasn't a Mobian. The beast gave out a gargantuan roar, causing stalactites to fall from the sky, but Metal Sonic was easily able to soar in between them, getting closer and closer to the beast. Before long, he was uncomfortably close to the lava monster. It began to snap its jaw and swing its horns in an attempt to launch Metal Sonic out of the sky. Metal continued to evade for some time, but eventually, Iblis got in a lucky hit. At the moment before impact, Metal Sonic activated his black shield as he was hurtled across the cave, smashing into the walls. Metal Sonic was expecting to take some serious damage from the hit, but as he looked across his body, he was shocked to find this unit is intact. This gave Metal Sonic an idea. Back when he was still aligned with the Eggman Empire, he studied Sonic relentlessly. Metal had heard of a time Sonic defeated a similar elemental creature, one comprised of water. And just as the water flowed together to create perfect chaos, the lava flowed together to create this monster. Meaning, there was a current. Metal Sonic knew what he needed to do. This better work. Metal Sonic took off at Mach speed, charging towards the giant worm. More stalactites fell down from the heavens, but Metal dodged them all, and just before he made contact with the giant monster, he initialized his black shield, charging headfirst into the lava flow. The boiling current carried him all the way to the skull, and as Supersonic had done to Perfect Chaos all those years ago, Metal Sonic erupted out of the skull. Volcanic rock and lava splattered all across the walls of the volcano like skull tissue. As a result of this fiery gore, the rest of the body slumped down into the lava pit below, sinking deep into the volcano. Metal Sonic floated in place where the head once was.
That was needlessly violent.
Hey, way to go, Metalhead!
I simply did as I always do. I emulated you.
Hey, give yourself some credit, Metal. That was your win, not mine. Besides, you've grown to a robot all your own. Metal Sonic looked down at his feet, as if he was embarrassed. The emerald surrounded Metal. With a burst of energy, he created a portal. Team Sonic and Rouge jumped through the rift in time, but before Shadow, Metal Sonic, and Tails Doll could join them, the ultimate life form turned back. He saw someone looming in the darkness. Without a second thought, Shadow raced after the creature, forsaking his trip back home. Metal Sonic wasn't sure what was going on, but if Shadow, of all people, deemed it a threat, it was something worthy of his attention. Tails Doll looked to the portal, then back at Shadow and Metal Sonic.
Why am I doing this?
And with that, Tails Doll followed the heroes towards their mysterious foe. In the darkest depths of the volcano, Mephiles the Dark looked down at the heroes who had followed him. So, decide to void your return ticket now, did you? Did you destroy this world? The answer is yes and no. Perhaps it's best if I show you. Mephiles waved his hand, and before the heroes appeared an illusion depicting what became of Shadow in this time period. After the world was devastated by Iblis's flames, what do you think happened? A search for the guilty. Who could have done this, you may ask? Humanity wasn't just jealous of your power, Shadow. They feared it. Come, Shadow, let us punish this foolish world of humanity. You have every right to want revenge. Besides, you already stand amongst killers. Mephiles' gaze turned to Metal Sonic. Before the android could respond, Shadow spoke up. Metal Sonic and I may have made mistakes in the past, but we can still choose to do the right thing. We decide our own destiny.
Agreed. Stand aside, villain, or be destroyed.
Mephiles glared before laughing to himself. My name is Mephiles the Dark, and I will be the last sight you ever see. Mephiles transformed into his crystalline form, unleashing his true power. Shadow and Metal Sonic prepared themselves for a deadly fight. With a wave of his arm, Mephiles dissipated into a cloud of vapor, leaving an army of Cyclops demons behind to fight in his place. The monsters began to swarm, but they were of little issue to Shadow and Metal Sonic. That's when they heard chuckling coming from the ground beneath Shadow.
You know, it doesn't matter how many you defeat. I am your Shadow. You can't even touch me.
Shadow gritted his teeth. Well then, let's put that to the test. Metal Sonic, get clear. I'll bring out the coward. Shadow's body began to pulse a warm red. He crossed his arms, and with 2 words, he enunciated, Chaos Blast! Most of the Cyclopses were knocked aside, and Mephiles was burned out of Shadow's shade. Now, the 2 heroes could attack him directly. But even with his access to the dark briefly disrupted by Shadow's light, Mephiles was still a force to be reckoned with. He began firing spears of light in all directions, trying to impale the heroes. They were able to just narrowly dodge the attacks and counter with their own. Chaos Spear!
Maximum overdrive. Charge!
But no matter how many attacks they landed, Mephiles didn't seem to take any significant damage.
Fools! I am eternal. You can't defeat me. I will leave your body skewered across this.
A pair of plush mitts covered Mephiles' eyes.
Peekaboo. Guess
Mephiles strangled the unthreatening Teddy Fox.
Pathetic mortal creation. You believe you are worth my time? Very well.
Mephiles grabbed the doll's arms. He began to pull. Fabric and wires began to snap one by one until they were ripped clean off. Tails doll screamed as his limbs laid limp on the ground, sparking still.
Why'd you laugh? Made you look.
Mephiles looked back in horror, just in time to see Metal Sonic and Shadow make contact. Metal Sonic's claws slashed against Mephiles' crystal exterior, followed by an uppercut to the jaw, sending him flying into the air, only for Shadow to kick him back to the ground, followed by a barrage of chaos spears to the skull, and finished off with a maximum overdrive charge. Mephiles was knocked onto the ground. He slowly began to get up, only to see in the distance a fourth combatant had arrived. It was none other than E123 Omega.
Target, Mephiles spotted. Rouge sends her regards.
Omega, whom had waited 200 years to assist Shadow by request of Rouge, began opening fire at Mephiles. Mephiles, despite his notable power, knew he couldn't take on 3 powerhouses at once, at least not in his current form. So, the Dark Lord raised his arm, opening a portal through space and time, disappearing into the past. All the while, the two machines glared at each other. The last time they had met, they had tried to destroy each other, but Shadow broke up the confrontation before it could begin. "We need to stop Mephiles. Come on!" The pair of machines locked eyes one last time, before silently agreeing to put aside their differences. Metal Sonic grabbed Tails doll, and the 4 creations of the Robotnik family tree jumped through the portal just before it closed. In a flash of light, the quartet returned to Soliana, present day. But Mephiles was nowhere to be seen.
Shadow, we must continue pursuing Mephiles.
Agreed. Shadow then turned to Metal Sonic, giving him a subtle nod of approval, before skating off with Omega following in suit. Now Metal Sonic was alone with the Tails doll.
Now why on earth would you save me?
I could ask you the same thing, Tails doll. The small fox paused for a moment.
Well, why did I save you?
The pair were now silent.
Maybe we're not so different after all, Tails doll. Come on, I think I know someone that can fix you up.
And with that, the pair of brothers raced off into the distance. And this is where we'll be leaving the story for right now. I'm Comic Fan 13, and I hope you have a good day.